Shah Rukh Khan's character in Swades is what Rustam Sengupta's life story reminds me of. Living in the global straitjacket, fat paycheck, MNC job, and abroad, every Indian mother's dream match for her daughter's shadi. However, a native village trip made him leave all the material comforts to work for his people at the grassroots level, every Indian mother's nightmare. Boond, his social enterprise and an NGO, aims to provide solar light, clean drinking water, and pest control to 1 million people by the end of 2012. And with his Boond kits, of which he will talk about, we know he can reach his goals. He has lived and worked in 5 countries across the globe and holds a master's in electrical engineering from the University of California, Irvine, besides an MBA from INSEAD. A warm welcome to Rustam Sengupta.
Wow. So we have more lights here than probably like 3 villages in 4 districts of the country or something like that. So I'll take you on a little journey and I'll take you through my life and take you through some learnings that we've had. Unfortunately, a lot of people show up at TED, expect motivational speakers, expect people to tell them what they did right. Bullshit. I mean, I don't really have all that. So I'll tell you what I did wrong, but I'll tell you where I took a stand and said that I don't accept. So this is me again, just to give myself an introduction. I'm not a comedian like Papa CJ, unfortunately. But on the top left-hand corner is me in school, in St. Columbus School, right around the corner in, next to Gold Khana. And that lady over there in kind of the bluish shirt is me. And that's kind of weird, but that's kind of how my story of I don't accept started. Where there was no girls. Columbus is only boys' school. So there was no girls to do the part of the lady. So they found 2 of us who kind of didn't want to fall into convention, and we ended up becoming heroines of the play in only boys' school. The other picture is of me in Alaska, completely out of shape, trying to do a 6-hour trek, which is supposed to be cool. That again is a story where, people do weird stuff, and it's going to be precursor to what my talk is about. Finally, 2 more pictures, one in Peru, doing the Inca hike while breaking my arm, and one actually playing with a tarantula spider. This is my brief introduction. Some people like to call me an MBA or MS or whatever, but the brief introduction is that I grew up as a person who didn't like to conform. And so does this thing. So as I was mentioning before, this is how a lot of people in India live. And the little girl out there on the picture on the bottom left is a girl whose name is Rashmi, and she actually studies harder than I ever did in life. But she doesn't study in a normal light. She studies in something which looks like the one on the top left, top right, which is this weird kerosene sort of arrangement where you light up the kerosene and you get a little light, little more than the candle that I was trying to show. It's kind of a very, very different experience if you're staying in a family like that. It's very different because you see the urge. You see the urge that sometimes we don't have, which is in there, the spark that is in there, the spark that wants them to move their lives to a next level, to aspire for something big, while going through all the challenges that you and I don't even imagine. It's a very compelling story because this story is not happening very far from us. It's happening just about 150 kilometers away. It's just happening about maybe 20 kilometers away from a main road which was built with World Bank money. So it's something which is very personal. It's something how people live. This again is a picture, and a lot of people give me a look, why do I show all these things? I show these because we are too thick-skinned. We talk about bloody change, but we are too thick-skinned to do anything about it. A few white people in the audience look at this picture, go like, whoa, I didn't see that on the way here from Defense Colony. But that is all pictures, all the 2 on the right are pictures in New Delhi. The one is next to Tilokpuri in East Delhi, and one is close to Okhla. And this is how half of the people live. This is how your maid lives. This is how the people who we call them the Indian dividend lives. I worked in an investment bank. That's negative dividend. That's going to be a crowd. That's going to be a mob. And this finally is, if I take it to a next bigger, sort of a macro level of where we are really. It's a very interesting picture, one of my favorite pictures, and I'd like you guys to spend like 10 seconds extra on it. This picture has this dark river kind of flowing through heart of India. It's very interesting. It flows through Rajasthan, Bundelkhand, Jharkhand, Bihar, Orissa. And the funny part is that this is not a river or a sea. This is actually the most populated part of the world. And what it really shows is all these 200 million people are living with so less light that Delhi and the border between India and Pakistan is seen, but their villages are not. 200 million people don't represent that on the map. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot accept that. And I cannot accept the FM telling me we are growing at blah blah % rate, but still seeing that picture on an every day-to-day basis. So what do? I go back and I think about it. So greater part of when we started Boond was spent in research. And what we really found is there's no lack of people, there's no lack of products, there's no lack of innovation, no lack of technology. What there is a lack of is the bridge, is the conduit that takes all these cool technologies back into where it's really, really needed. And that was kind of, it sounds like common sense now, but it was kind of an aha moment because it said that what the focus of people should be is not just to design and develop the next Facebook application. I mean, no hard feelings against people who do that, but is to actually develop or think about the bridge that can be created. So the problem that we put in one word was the problem of access. But the moment, bang, I started thinking that, I had the first challenge that came through. And funnily, it came through the education that I'd been to. Education in the West, education in India. It was that this is a government's job. This is a way too big job for a person. This is way too big job for a group of people. You can do it on an impact day. You have this day when I was working Deloitte, you have this day where you go out and you do all these things and then you come back to your AC office and you continue life. So it's not your job. And that's what my education told me. And I didn't accept that. For the same reason that I didn't accept not having a heroine in St. Columbus, I didn't accept that. I said, no, maybe there is a way. So we said the way to do that is not to create more products or to create more financial channels, but to actually create entrepreneurs. Is to actually create leaders, not in an NGO beneficiary kurta-dhari way, but actually leaders who have confidence and the courage to work for their own communities. This is a picture in Manipur. This lady's name is Rose. She's unfortunately HIV positive, doesn't work for us right now. But she was one of the first leaders that we created. She was one of the first people who wanted to change the condition of the people around her. But the moment we started doing that, we hit another wall. And this was kind of a big wall because it's a stigma, it's a mental wall where all NGOs told me, tried to partner up with them and they said, rural poor are supposed to be beneficiaries. You are supposed to help them. I was like, I am 29, this guy is 54. How am I supposed to help them? He has more experience in life than I can put together. But no, the mindset was they are beneficiaries and that's how they need to be helped. We couldn't accept that either. So we decided we'll change it. How? We'll train the people. We'll see. We sort of followed the Bunker Roy model from Tilonia and we said we'll train people who conventionally don't look like entrepreneurs, who can't maybe come up to a TEDx speech and have 3-letter degrees after their name, but we'll train them on technology. We'll train them how to fix stuff. It's a very simple product. And we'll train them how to do accounting, how to manage cash. And that's exactly what we did. What we found is that for an entrepreneur, it's not just training, but what's really, really matters is the incentive that's provided, is why they want to take this high-risk position and change it. So our biggest learning was that fix the right set of incentives and people will spearhead and do tough stuff. So one of the incentives was the family of the person. And the family is really important. So we started interacting with the families. We started talking with them. We started staying with them in most cases. And there's few people of our team who regularly are there all the time. We started providing some sort of an insurance. We said, okay, if such and such happens, here's a network of people around you, and you can be taken to the closest hospital or whatever. If you're in the police station, picked up for the wrong reasons, here's an iCard that can give you some identity. But most importantly, I think what we managed to give them, or what we really see that entrepreneurs need, is aspiration. And that's where India is so divided, because the Bharat really does not have a lot of hope. I'm sorry, but they don't. They vote for any bloody guy who comes and gives them a 500 rupee note. And the India, unfortunately, we talk of all these big words. So what we thought is give them some aspiration so that at some point, if not them, but their children can sit in a platform like this. The moment that happened, another funny story came up. People told me, well, people are not going to pay you back. Again, maybe they're not honest, maybe, nobody's going to buy your stuff. So what we kind of tried to sell is sort of something like this. It's a simple solar lamp. It kind of hangs upside down in a person's village. It charges itself with a 3-watt panel, and it's very decentralized. It's cheap. Stuff like little solar bulbs. I have a habit of dropping everything, and things that can actually be small technological advancements, but actually help people's life. But people told me that they won't pay you back. The banks refused to give us any loans, and they wanted my dad's poor house and collateral. So we said, okay, let's think of some other things of let's try to analyze why people would not pay. And we found the reason people don't pay back, or the reason people have defaults, is not theirs. The reason is ours. We sell them shit. I have an Airtel phone, which was sold to me with all the deal, and when I call up the customer center, I don't get good service. These guys have been traditionally sold and resold products that don't have the basics things like servicing, don't have the basic thing any trust, you can't find the right guy. It's like buying an HDFC life insurance, When they sell it to you, they make you scared and think about death, and when you actually don't die and ask for the money back, they're nowhere there. And that's exactly the experience these people had, and they came out and told us, the boss, aap to chale jaoge kal. You're going to leave. Aapko kaun pakdega? I'll buy this, 2000 rupee light or the 500 rupee light from you. You're going to leave. It's going to break. Who's going to fix it? And that's why people default. We found that there was lack of understanding, lack of trust, lack of value. We found a lack of designs. We have more IITians, top IITians working in US designing good products for Americans and British and Western people than actually designing stuff for the village, which actually works. So we said there was a problem with design, there's a problem with not working with feedback. And we tried to do that. We tried to bring out more products, more services that inherently involve the community with that. That's a guy in a village, he's making dal bati with using our lamps. Then we finally went to investors and we said, it's about time we need some investments. And they said, are you kidding me? You're doing charity work, man. This can never be a business. You can never actually make any money off it. And they gave me a challenge of 10 lakh rupees. That's nothing. I mean, we had speakers who would bill so much, but they gave me a challenge, if you make 10 lakh rupees, we'll talk to you, come back. Basically, shoo us off, right? We again didn't want to accept. So we said, we'll come up to defeat this. We'll come up with different kind of innovations. Innovations not just in product, but in the business model. If people can't buy the product, maybe they can bank on a product. Maybe somebody can go, pay a little deposit, take the light, use it for a while, then he can resell it to somebody or give it to somebody else and create sort of like a bank kind of an arrangement. Maybe there can be some innovative payment plans which are linked to agricultural cycles, so that when he makes his produce, he can have a way of paying it back. Maybe we can use the mobile technology to actually show them videos in the last mile, sell products, or do servicing of some kind. So we started working with all that, and we survived. We survived, and we survived in a big way because that 35 lakh, though it's a small amount, has come for people who live between $3 to $5 a day, or between 50 to 200 rupees a day. So you can imagine that 35 lakhs to me actually is 35 crores if it was people like you. And that's huge. So we have survived. And there are 5,000 houses which have electricity, which have lights, which have people who are studying. There are 50 entrepreneurs who were nothing before, who did not really want to be anything before, who are actually now confident, and they even negotiate with us right now. And we have 11 as crazy, and thanks Neha for saving us till the end, as crazy people working with me, people who are from IITs, people who are from Oxfords and Cambridges and everything. They just want to give it a shot. Because the big thing about change is it's not going to come from up. These guys are old and they're over. It's not going to come from down there because they're not exposed. It's going to come from here. And, you know, I can look pretty today and make all these presentations, but the reality is there's a team of mine right now in Pali, in Udaipur, in Jhunjhunu, in Sikar, who are actually in this 45-degree heat. They're outside because they believe in it. And finally, you know, the government told me just freaking like 3 months ago that, it's great what you're doing, but nobody really cares. And I mean, I don't have a big answer for that. Only thing I can say is, 2 years ago they called me an idiot, and today they call me to TEDx. So people do care. And I hope people will keep caring and keep helping. So thank you very much. I would like to thank my parents. They're here today. They had a hard time understanding what I'm doing, so I got them along. I would like to thank all my friends, and I of course want to thank Neha. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody.